What's going on, guys? It's Mason. Today I'm going to be showing you the process it takes from taking a rusty leaf spring like this, turning it into a nice leaf spring like that. So it's going to include everything from tear down to prep to actually painting the metal. So I think it's going to be a two-part series. The first part is going to be just disassembling this. So taking it all apart, leaf spring by leaf spring, pulling the bushings out, opening these clamps to get all of them apart, everything like that. And then the second part of the series is going to be actually prepping the metal itself and then go ahead and applying our color on. So up first, let's go and start taking apart this leaf spring. So we have the leaf spring on our vise. We're going to try to go ahead and remove this nut. It's a 15 millimeter. Just so you guys know, I'm working with a 2010 F250 leaf spring, but I'm sure there's a lot of differences with different kind of vehicles you're using, but that's what kind of I have right now. Maybe I should have did that second. We actually need to open these clamps up so we can separate them, from themselves, because it's the bottom one, not like the very bottom, but the bottom one here though, hold them all together, so you can't really separate them to open these up. So last time on this one, I used heated up this corner, put a pry bar in here, twisted it back. This time I kind of want to see if I can do it without the heat, because I try to keep these if I can, because I'm going to have to buy new ones for that one over there. But let's go ahead and see. Yeah, doesn't even look like we're going to have to heat it up. So there's that one. Got bent out. Hopefully I get you guys a better view of this one. There we go. So now that you have them bent out and open, we can go and remove this top spring off. If you don't know, there's spacer plates between each individual leaf. Make sure you remember the order they go in, especially if you're doing both at the same time. There you go. Now this one came apart a little different than the last one I did. Last one, this screw came off like immediately. So let's go ahead and try to figure out a way we can pop this screw out. Nice. So you saw there, at least with this one, I had force using a pry bar on the bottom, and then I was just hitting it side to side with the hammer, kind of wiggling that rust to kind of break free, allowing it to come off. So make sure when you're doing this, you don't forget parts, because I already don't know where the nut is. But now, let's go ahead and look at taking off our little plastic clips over here. There's a couple different designs of these, but basically all they do is make sure that when the metal's on here and they're moving all together, it's not squeaking. This little plastic or whatever it is insulates the metal to metal contact, and that way it's not all squeaky. So it would be really nice if we can keep these, but sometimes they get destroyed and trying to take them off. But let's go ahead and take them off. There we go. So I'm not sure if I'll keep them because they are getting a little damaged. We'll just have to see. But go ahead and do that to all four. There we go. So now that we got the clamp liners out, all we have left are these leaf spring pad bushings or whatever they're called, and then these actual bushings here. So I just went ahead and bought new ones of these. They're not really worth keeping. They're fairly cheap. I just bought a set on Amazon. So we're just going to pop them out. Kind of like a barb fitting. They just press fit through, and you're just basically going to push something through and they'll pop right out. Now that we got all these out, all we have left are these main bushings here. So there's a bigger one that goes towards the front of the cab, and there's a smaller one that attaches to something like this, at least on this truck. It kind of isolates itself on this piece here. So yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and push these out because we're just gonna get new ones. It's an old truck. Might as well replace them, and you're gonna have to remove them if you want to put them in the oven, obviously. So what I did is I went ahead and rented some tools from AutoZone. So some of these big old bushing removal tools. Basically all we're going to do is we're going to stick it on one side like this, and then we're going to put the other side, we're going to put another piece here, and we'll put it in our vise and push this bushing all the way through inside of this here. That's how I got the ones over there off. It's not the greatest method. There's probably a better way of doing it, but it works, and these are free if you return them. So there's really no cost to do this, but yeah, so I have a bigger vise out. Let's go ahead and try to do it. So here's my at-home method of how I'm doing this. So you can see we got one piece supported over here, and then this vise, we have, this is a push through, so this is all the way open on both sides. So the bearing, or bushing I mean, will push inside of this while we're pushing it through here. So we just have actually a 21mm socket right here, and we're just going to slowly tighten it down, pushing that bushing through. There we go. So now once we get so far, we're gonna have to back out and put a longer one in. The only reason I don't put the longer one in initially, it's really hard to stabilize while this is, you know, it's a really large mouth to kind of all hold by yourself and get it lined up. There we go. Once you get it lined back up, go ahead and continue cranking it down. So I can see it stopped, the bushing at the other side, so that means it is all the way through. There we go. There is our bushing. So if you wanted to keep these, they come out in pretty good condition doing this. I mean, I don't think it's ripped up any more than, you know, it was when we started. But now let's go and do the other one. Sheesh! Here is the smaller one, so we got both all the way out. Now sometimes this method does not always work. Sometimes they're really stuck in there, and when you're pushing in there, when you're cranking this thing down, it is not going. As you can see, that happened with one of mine last time. We have a super bent vise handle now, so we had to resort to this. So this is basically just a hole saw bit. So you get one that's just a little bit bigger than the outer side of the hole here, and you just start drilling it through. Do that from both sides, and then when you go to push it through, it'll come out super easy. Only bad thing about that is if you were trying to reuse the bushings, they would be no good anymore. But yeah. Well guys, I think that's the end of this video. Everything is taken apart. Up next we have prep. What we're going to do to prep these is sandblast them, outgas them, sandblast them again at a lower PSI. On the second sandblast, obviously the first one's to remove all the rust. Second one to remove all the contaminants, and then we're going to actually hand sand it after that to even out the surface. Main reason we hand sand it is because even when you sandblast, pitting rust on these you'll always be able to see it. So when you hand sand it down, it creates a little more even surface there, so it looks a little better. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. My email should be in the description below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.